Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Refined Savage. Hey guys, let's talk about some new sponsors. Fresh on the show, we have the beard struggle. So you guys with those big giant beards, you got to keep them fresh and looking good, or your women are not going to want to go anywhere near those things. You're going to think there's bed bugs in them or whatever else they got in there. So you got to keep those things looking fresh and clean and smelling nice. The Beard Struggle has everything you need for that. Check them out at thebeardstruggle.com. They have heated combs, they have beard brushes, they have beard oil, beard balm, beard masks, everything you need to keep that beard looking fresh and smelling good. Give them a holler. Use the code REFINEDSAVAGE at checkout for 15% off. Our next new sponsor, Impact Mouth Guards. A lot of you guys are grappling and wearing mouth guards, and they're maybe the ones from Target or whatever. They're not exactly doing you a huge favor. Got to protect those choppers. More importantly, you got to protect yourself from impact to your skull, and mouth guards will help you with that. Impact Mouth Guards has custom mouth guards fit to your face and your jaw and your teeth to make sure that everything fits properly. They also have ways of monogramming them and making them look cool and putting your logo on them. And check out their website. Very cool stuff. So if you're a guy who is grappling, if you're a guy who's boxing, if you're in a contact sport like football, if you're one of these people who grind their teeth at night, you need a mouth guard. Give Impact Mouth Guards a try. Check them out at impactmouthguards.com. Use the code REFINEDSAVAGE at checkout for 15% off. Highly recommend it. I'm going to pick one up for Hayden for football. They got some really cool ones with like money symbols on them or fucked up looking teeth on them, and really cool stuff. Check them out. Iron and Stone Strength. Iron and Stone, making the best apparel in the game. This podcast, as it's coming out, we got to tell you about their Festivus competition. Sign up for that. It is a well-run competition run by fantastic human beings. In the meantime, head on over to ironandstonestrength.com. Check out their apparel line. Very cool stuff. I highly recommend their t-shirts. Very soft, very cool looking designs. Stuff you won't be embarrassed to wear out in public. Hats, sweatshirts, sweatpants, the whole 9 yards. Great stuff, great people. Check them out. Use the code REFINEDSAVAGE at checkout for 20% off. My life is nearing an end, guys. My latest box of Stay Classy Meats is coming to an end. I need to get refueled. Need to get a hold of these guys, get some more meat in my belly. Stay Classy Meats, small batch farms, Bozeman, Montana area. These animals are being raised in these farms. They're living the way animals should live. They're grazing. They're drinking fresh Montana streams. If you're not hunting your own meat, Stay Classy Meats is the way to go. Humanely treated animals with no hormones. They taste great. They're treated humanely. Everything you can do if you're going to be a meat eater, this is the way to go. Check them out at stayclassymeats.com and use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. The good people at Serious Steel want you to know that whatever you need for your gym needs, whether it's a home gym, a commercial gym, a box, whatever you are outfitting, Serious Steel has everything you could need for that gym. Check them out. Their prices are low. Their customer service is high. I love these people. Great folks, great products, everything you could possibly want with a small company, not one of these giant mega-million-dollar companies that are sweeping the globe. Check these guys out. Give them a hand. SeriousSteel.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. Warrior CBD. Everybody has their own CBD oil out right now, but Warrior CBD is the best stuff I've ever tried. I love it. And again, just like Serious Steel, they have the best customer service I have ever dealt with. If you get a hold of them on Instagram, Nancy, the owner, will get back with you and answer any questions you might have. Very sweet lady. Very great company. This stuff was created by jiu-jitsu and MMA fighters. Nancy herself is a jiu-jitsu fighter. They know what it's like to get beat and bumped and bruised up, and the CBD oil that they put out is the best stuff in the game. I use the 1,000 milligrams under the tongue at night. Helps me relax and go right to sleep. It can help with your anxiety. If you've got an anxious dog, they have pet products just for you. If you have aches and pains in your joints, they've got roll-ons. Everything you can need. Give them a call. Give them a holler at warriorcbdofficial.com. Use the code WARRIOR20 off at checkout for 20% off. Cerberus. We keep talking about Cerberus strength, and I love these guys. You Highland Games guys out there who are getting into the off season and get ready for the Arnold, you're going to want to start training with those indoor sandbags, and Cerberus has some of the best stuff around. Give them a holler. Check out the indoor sandbags. Check out the loading sandbags. Check out their belts. They got some sweet belts. Wraps, straps, knee sleeves, anything you could want to help you stay healthy and stay strong in the sports of strongman, powerlifting, or Highland Games. These guys have it all. Check them out. Cerberus-strength.us. Use the code REFINESAVAGE10 at checkout for 10% off. And finally today, my boy Evan Armstrong still brewing up that coffee, that Viking coffee out in the Bowling Green, Ohio area. He is killing it. Best coffee I've ever had in my life. I love it. I drink it every day. Fuels me. I love it. Give him a holler. VikingCoffeeCo.com and use the code VikingCoffee10 at checkout for 10% off. Today on the show, we have Billie Burcume. I always fuck up her last name, but that's pretty darn close. Billie is a high-level women's strong woman competitor from Iron and Stone Strength up in the Buffalo, New York area. Great conversation. She was in town for the King Diamond show, and we sat down and did a little podcast before she went out and worked out and squatted half the house. Really great conversation. I think you guys are really going to dig it, and I want you to sit back, share this with a friend, enjoy some Viking coffee, and we'll see you at the end.
Hi, by the way.
Tony.
Cleese.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen him since last year at, by the way, we're recording, so.
Oh, that's okay.
I haven't seen him since Ohio's Strongest Man last year. He beat the crap out of me.
But he was like, yeah, tell him I said hi. He's a good guy, so.
Yeah, it was he is a good athlete. Pull that thing, if you can, just pull it a little bit closer. There, you're perfect. Yeah, he was a really good athlete. We were in that competition. I went there just totally fucking around, because I knew that I wasn't having prayer winning. But he was a super good athlete. I think that's the first time I've seen him actually compete. Definitely first time I competed with him. But does he coach up? Where are you training?
Oh, Iron and Stone Strength.
Yeah, so that's one of our sponsors.
Yeah, and but that's where we train out of. Tony's kind of like the gym dad coach.
Right.
We always joke he's the gym dad. And we always joke about his scowl, the Cleese Cowell we call it.
He got that down pat.
Yeah, he's got that like if you mess up and he knows you could have done it, that
right.
look of like, why'd you quit?
Why are you wasting my time having to watch this crap?
Yeah, he's amazing.
I love Eric and those guys up at Iron Stone. They came down here we ended up talking one time. That's how he became a sponsor, him and his family. He's got an awesome family. They're just beautiful.
Oh, I know.
And they came down and were picking up some plates from Shane Rickman, and we started talking, and I keep pushing that apparel line because I think it's really cool looking stuff. I hate, like, if you go to the Arnold and you'll see some of these apparel lines, they look like shit. Like, you walk around, it's like some big overly muscled guy on the front flexing. Yeah. It's like
cheesy.
I'm not gonna wear this out to Target looking like I've got some big weird dude on my chest, And so I'm hoping. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while about sales, but I'm hoping he's getting some sales through here. And the other thing is just they're just in the game. They're actual people who are doing this shit. You know.
I know, it's crazy because Eric started. It's a kind of almost backwards. Most people have the gym and then they sell the
right,
shirts.
Right.
And he started it was an idea of like the clothing, like you said, some of the clothing you see at conventions or whatever. It's just like a crappy Gildan shirt.
Right, yeah.
Poorly designed, badly printed.
Yep.
And he just kind of started with the intent of having a clothing line that was like kind of like meant for people in this sport that they get it. There's a certain mindset.
Yeah.
And also good quality and stuff. And he just started selling T-shirts to the crew from the back of his truck. And he was telling me the first Nickel City that he did, we didn't have the gym yet.
Right.
It was still an idea, and people were coming up to him at the end of the contest, being like, "So where's your gym?"
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, Well, about that.
You're advertising something that doesn't exist for the most part.
Yeah.
But it became kind of more of a movement because I looked at it just as a clothing line. I was doing, we don't do, we're going to put out a T-shirt or so a year or so, but I played with it for a while and it just wasn't interesting to me. I had fun at first, then it was like, this isn't me. I don't feel like doing it. I don't like promoting it. I certain as hell don't like being the model in the pictures. Like my buddy Pape, who does all like the pictures of we gotta go out to the beach and have a picture you taken by. I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to do that.
Have this dramatic photo shoot.
Right, I can't do that.
Up,
I can't do it. There's nothing wrong with that. People who do it and do it well, like Matt Vincent does it, and he does it great. But I think he has a passion for that. And I don't tell you the truth. I don't know if he makes up those designs on his own for hate or if he's got a fleet of young children who know what good-looking stuff is. I certainly don't. So I wear the same black T-shirt and Chucks every day, so it's not like I'm a fashion plate.
Right? Oh, my goodness.
But yeah. So you were in town last night for King Diamond?
Oh, my God. It was such a fun show.
At the Agora?
It was like, there was no room. It was completely sold out. Like, I still remember even, like, a couple days ago, I was checking ticket sales.
Yeah.
To see if there was, like, resale tickets left for a friend that wanted to go. And there was, like, one resale ticket. That's it. It was crazy, but it was packed.
Yeah.
And we got there a little later. I think we got there, like, maybe 10 minutes before King Diamond went on. But we had friends that got there a couple hours before we did, and they were like, no, even when we got here 2 hours ago, because we thought, like, we're early, like, we're here with doors open, we'll be able to get up front and stuff. Nope. Because they were in the back, too.
Was it general admission?
Yeah, it was just general admission.
That's crazy.
Just, standing room. Yeah, it was packed.
That theater used to be the place to go in Cleveland. You would see all the top names there. I think I saw Bad Company there. That's how old I am. In probably like 90 or 89, And I remember that place. It was crazy. And one of the girls that I do jiu-jitsu with went with her fiance boyfriend. I'm not sure which one, but she's like an old school 80s rocker chick, so she was totally into it. But I saw some of the pictures from her there last night. But
that's what I love with shows like that, with like when you see like an older band, like King Diamond's been around. It seems like forever, and Merciful Fate and stuff.
Yeah.
You see such a cool mix of people. You'll see, like this couple who's like in their 60s,
right,
rocking out, and then you'll see like some young couple in their 20s at the same time, and it's kind of cool when you see this just diverse mix of people.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you go to Slayer shows, you'll see some old timer, headbanging and having a good time and pretending they're 25 again,
I had David Sloan on the podcast a couple months ago when I was down in Key West, and David is this he's like the Key West writer. He's written all these books. Like, you go to the airport, all his books are on the shelves and everything. And he seems like this very laid back, very intelligent guy. And you don't expect it, but he's like, normally I get my best ideas when I'm riding around in the car with the windows open. I got Slipknot playing full blast. I'm like, what? Slipknot? That's what you're listening to? I was expecting like Rachmaninoff or something, But that was his thing. Gets his juices flowing.
Oh man, we should see oh my gosh, some of the days we have at Iron and Stone with the music. That's all over the place there too. One Strongman Saturday we had like Katy Perry and like Tay Tay playing and stuff. And then I have a group of girls I've been training with. Which is kind of another thing I love with this gym. I feel like it's really attracted a lot of girls to the strength community.
Yeah.
So now I have like this little crew of girls that are new to it, that are learning, and it's been cool. But to make it fun, we'll have theme Thursdays, we call it. We've had like Disney Day. That's how it started. Was one of our girls was kind of feeling a little down, so I asked everybody what their favorite Disney song was. and did not really telling him what I was doing, and I made a playlist of everyone's favorite Disney songs.
Yes.
And we had Disney Day.
I like it.
And we've had Boy Bands Day, and so it's kind of funny you come in and it's like we have this one guy. I don't know if you've met him in the Highland community, John Catalinus.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
the most electrifying athlete in Highland games. I love it. But he trains on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so he's subjected to these things. He acts like a hazy. He loves it.
Sure, yeah.
He sings and dances along with us.
That's a super important thing, and I try to tell this to people who are opening a gym and I'm not good at it, but luckily there are people in here, whether they're members or coaches or my wife, who are good at it. But it's building that community. If it were up to me, like I'd leave half the lights off in there, and there'd be no music at all, and I would just go in there and grind for an hour. But that's not how normal humans function. So they have, they have little games, and it was odd for me because I never trained with other people until this place opened. Then all of a sudden I'm training with people, and it's like, oh, I have to like talk to people and be friendly, and yeah, and it was odd, but that's a huge part of opening a gym and making it successful, is just building that community and getting to know people. And like I said, luckily I have people in it who are better at it than I am, so it makes it easy. But
yeah, definitely community is everything.
And Eric is really good because Eric, I didn't even know who the fuck Eric was, and I was like at meets, and all of a sudden he would come over and start talking to me. I'm like, who is this guy with the gauges in his ears and all these tattoos? Do I know who this guy is? And he would always introduce himself, and I never think anyone knows who I am, so I'm always introducing him. Oh yeah. And then he would go over to that awesome tent of theirs, and I'm like, oh, he's the Iron and Stone guy, And then,
right.
But he was, he was a friendly dude who would just come up always and talk to you, and I really wish them well. I hope they do good. And
oh, it's been crazy, like Strongman Saturdays.
Yeah. Festivus looking big? Does that look like it's going to be a big deal?
That
Good.
looks like it's going to be good.
I've been promoting the shit out of that on here.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm volunteering for it this time. So, some of us from the crew that are volunteering. It's going to be a funny show. We already have a sleigh painted up, all red and white and everything. And we've got...
what are you going to do with the sleigh?
Oh, it's
or you like tell me? Arm over arm, yeah.
We've been joking we're going to put kids in it holding signs that say week.
So, I like it.
So when you're pulling it, you have kids making fun of you dressed up like elves or something. The logs are painted like candy canes already.
Oh, God, that's awesome.
Yeah, so everything's just going to be over the top, just very Christmassy and kind of cheesy.
I'm going to get this, I'm going to up this podcast in the rotation so people can hear that, because I think people, that's what makes
strongman fun.
Exactly. It's not powerlifting or Olympic lifting where everything's so
serious.
fucking serious,
Our MC is one of our guys in our crew, and his name's Andy. He is missing a few screws. Like he says the most outlandish, like just funny stuff all the time at practice. He'll just start yelling stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been on the other side of the room and heard something and just sat there laughing for 5 minutes. I couldn't even help myself. He's going to be emceeing because it's Festivus themed. He's been instructed to insult everyone.
I love it.
So
it'd be like, what was that old Howl at the Moon Saloon? They used to be a Cleveland thing. I don't know if it was everywhere else, but you come in and they would throw wet dish towels at you and talk shit to you and call you names. Just like, I'm paid for this.
That's what this is going to be with him emceeing. It'll be funny, and he's emceed contests before. They did one in Rochester to benefit Recovery. It's kind of like a gym program or I think it's kind of like an activity program kind of thing, outdoors gym to help people recovering from drug and alcohol addiction.
Cool.
But he was emceeing for that, and you would be in the middle of a lift, and he would say something really funny about you, and you're just trying not to laugh and drop it. You're like, did he just say that? So he's going to be emceeing, and it's just going to be fun. The trophies are going to be crazy too.
Yeah.
It is actually it's kind of funny because someone on Starting Strongman asked how important are trophies, to you as a competitor, because you just want to see what people feel about that stuff.
Yep.
And you have all these people that are being like, well, I don't care. You know, there have been times I've just gotten a handshake and stuff. And Eric kind of piped in where he's like, well, as a promoter, you know, I tried to do cool stuff like the last Nickel City.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's one of my favorite trophies right now because it's like a little mini keg growler.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't get a cheap one. Like there's a pressure valve on it
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
So, but he kind of piped in basically saying like, I kind of, you know, I know it makes the athlete feel appreciated if you have nice shirts.
Yeah.
Nice trophies.
Yep.
Like that's one reason I love doing your shows. Like you always have cool trophies and the shirts are nice.
One of the things, the worst event I ever had, and this was a horror show for me. So, we had this. I think it was the year before you came out. So it was like 2 years ago. We had it out at. It was the only year we ever and will ever be a affiliated show with any strongman corporation. We had it out at this big event center. And we ended up having like 80 or 90 people there. And so, of course, I always get on Amazon and look for cool shit to do for prizes, or I used to. Yeah. And I found these medals. And I'm like, oh, those look really cool. You know, like gold, silver. So I get them and I order them. And they're taking forever to get there. So the week before the contest, they're still not there. So on Wednesday, the competition on Friday, finally Wednesday, they show up. And I'm watching the Amazon link that says, showing up on this day, showing up on... They show up and I'm so excited. I open it up and they look like fucking like gold. They were the worst medals you've ever seen in your life. They were like all flimsy. And I'm like, I'll show you one because I saved one just as a reminder of how horrible it was. So people are coming up and I'm like almost apologizing. I'm like, yeah, here's your first place medal. And I was like, oh God.
Like, I'm so sorry.
You know, we gave out money too, which is always nice. But you want something cool. So
I mean, it's nice to have something cool to put on a shelf.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder.
And I found a guy who does metalworking, and that's where we got those trophies. And we from now on, we're going to him for all. He's really cool.
Those are so cool.
Yeah.
Like...
He's doing those same ones this year. And we did ones for, I don't know, that Anvil Crom one, that's the Conan one. He did those last year, and because I'm a Conan fanatic. But yeah, trophies are cool because... I mean, I get it. I was a pro Highland Games athlete. All I cared about was the check. Matter of fact, trophies became a pain in the ass because you have to fly home with them. Like, here's your sword. I'm like, oh, fuck. How am I going to get through an airport with this katana? You know, but especially when you're not making money.
Right.
I did all this work. Give me something, you know?
Yeah. And I like having it for the memory.
Sure.
Like, I just did that, the Vikings Con Strongman show in Maryland.
Okay.
That was crazy.
Who ran that?
Barrett Young.
Okay.
From the 301 crew down there.
Uh-huh.
And that was, I think, the coolest show I've done. It was all natural objects.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
The yoke carry, like if you look at my profile pic on Facebook right now, they had a masked yoke carry. So it was like literally a tree that they cut down.
Jesus.
And what they did was they attached the sides of a yoke to it for safety.
Yeah.
Because it was like if you bail, if it rolls down your back or something, it could be in trouble.
Well, that was like the Franco Colombo injury years ago when that refrigerator fell on him.
Yeah. So it's like that was for safety, so you could bail safely. But you're basically picking up this log on your shoulders, and all you got is like some rope to hold it with, because it's too big to try to put your hands out on the side of the yoke like you normally would, or put your arms behind you and hold it behind you a little bit, because then you're just gonna push it over your head if you do that. So it's like that was super challenging because you have to do everything they tell you not to do when you're doing a yoke. Right. You know, when you do yoke, it's like, you know, perfectly straight, you know, eyes forward, you know, and you have all your core, you know, bracing underneath it. You lose all that.
Sure, yeah, because you're kind of hunched over and
you're hunched over. Like when we're practicing picking it, like your instinct is to look up when you stand up,
and it's huge. It's gonna roll off your back.
Oh yeah, totally. As soon as I tried to look up, it started to fall back off. So you had to like look down, hunch over, like.
How many people did he get at the show?
I think he had like 86.
See, that's
but 77
awesome.
showed up.
That's awesome because most people, the biggest thing as a promoter, when I put up an event, like I've got to put up the event page tonight for Odin's Challenge because I've been super slacking on that. But as soon as I put up the events, I get 5,000 questions. Well, what diameter is the stone? How heavy is the log? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, just come and lift it. And I can't even imagine if you had odd objects that no one's seen before, how many questions you would get on it. I remember one of the first strongman shows I ever did, I felt like a total asshole because Sean Shoemaker's a good buddy of mine, but at the time I didn't really know him. And I texted him, I'm like, he was doing a rolling thunder deadlift. I'm like, what is a rolling thunder? I don't even know what this is. And he's like explaining it to me. And like, oh, okay, I guess I got to go buy one. I'm like, what is Wessel rules for the deadlift? And I'm like, so, poor guy.
Imagine how many questions he got because it was like you couldn't really totally predict how this stuff's going to go. Like a natural rock, how many questions can you actually ask about just a rock? It's not like an Atlas stone, because I've seen people ask that about Atlas stones. What's the diameter of a 250-pound Atlas stone? Right. And you're just like, oh my God, stop.
And I almost flunked geography in high school, so I am not even going to attempt to find a diameter.
My favorite question, and it's a huge pet peeve of mine, like whenever there's a carry event, there's always that guy that's like, can you shoulder it? There's always one, can you shoulder it?
Yep.
And it's like, no, that kind of
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, the whole point is you're carrying it from the front. It sucks and it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, stop asking that question. Like, can I shoulder it? It's like, but some promoters will be like, if you can.
Yeah, right.
They did that at Nationals this year. You had to carry 2 sandbags into a sled and then pull it. And someone,
is that USS Nationals or
yes,
Strongman?
USS. And somebody asked, can you shoulder the sandbags and carry them? And they were like, kind of like, well, if you can, go for it.
Yeah.
And everything. If you're strong enough, well, by all means. And there was one guy, and it was the guy that asked, shoulder them.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh.
Probably took a little bit of time to get it up there too. You're dealing with how
it
fast can you
really
get it done?
It was kind of like, because I was actually, because I went up into the bleachers to sit with my parents for a second while I was in between events, and his wife was sitting next to my parents. And we're like watching it, and all of a sudden he just like flings the bag up on his shoulder, and I was like, holy shit! Like,
yeah, some
like,
people
oh, that's
just.
my husband. She's like, yeah, he's the guy that asked if you could shoulder it. I'm like, because he can.
He's
like,
doing well.
I was like, he's doing all right, because those were heavy bags, so it was, it was a substantial amount of weight. I don't know what he had to do, but I know they were pretty heavy bags.
And that was in Columbus this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Vaccio running tight show from what I heard.
Oh my God, he was not messing around.
Yeah.
Like he said, we're gonna be done by 5 or 6 or something. I don't remember what the exact time frame was, but we were done at that exact time. It was done. And the volunteers helped a lot with that. They kept things moving, like go. Okay,
yep.
They weren't. If they called someone's name and they weren't there after three calls, they got scratched for the event.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
We rotate our events, which I like because we can get 3 to 5 events done in 3 events done in 3 hours and 5 events done in 4 or 5.
I'm always telling people that about your contests and stuff. I was like, if you want to do a good show that's quick and fun, I was like, sign up for a Blind Dog Gym show with Mark.
I appreciate it.
Because it's nice when it I remember that Highlander I did.
Yeah.
The first Highlander I did with you. It was like, I just remember we finished by 2.
Oh yeah, 2 usually we're out of there and everyone's eating.
Yeah, I just remember you handed trophies out and then you turn around to go to your car. And your crew had everything picked up, and the truck was already gone.
They're so awesome. I have this guy.
Like nothing ever happened. It was crazy.
His whole family gets a free membership, and his only job is to make sure all that shit is taken care of. So he runs the crew. We call him the field general. His name's Brad, and we have all these people like Susan, who runs the Stones, has run the Stones at every one of our events. So when you come to one of our events every year, oh, there's Susan. I remember her from last year. You know she understands what's going on, and her only job that whole day is to make sure the event got set up properly, that it runs smoothly, and it gets broken down smoothly. And we look at our events. We changed what we call our events a couple of years ago. We call them gatherings now instead of competitions, because we have a girl in here who was in a competition with you and Sharon last year, and she was all weirded out because she knew she was going to get destroyed. But I'm like, who the fuck cares? Just come out and play and get good at this and compete against good people. And we're always going to have trophies. We're always going to give out some cash to the winners. And it's I would rather have free beer in the corner and some vendors and make it into more of a gathering of, I haven't got to see you for a year. Let's hang out and have some fun.
And that's how I look at strongman shows now. Because I'm in my fifth year, doing this, and you do create bonds with people, and friendships and stuff. Like this year at Nationals, I knew I was going to just eat it this year, and train as well as I probably could have. But it was like, let's go party with my friends,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
what it was about, and I noticed there are a lot of names on the list girls I've never met, and I was like, let's make some new friends, especially as, not to brag, but us super heavyweight girls were kind of cool, but really cool
you're the whole show for sure. It's good because
it's always fun, but yeah, you do you start looking forward to doing shows in certain areas because you're like, oh, I know this person's going to be there.
Yes.
Or you'll message them like, dude, are you doing this one? I want to do this one. Are you doing it?
And it's not the Olympics.
Yeah, it's like...
It's not the NFL. There's not millions of dollars on the line. What else are you going to do on a Saturday? Come out and play.
Yeah, that's how I always say it. It's like playtime.
Fun. I have never... I've won one strongman competition ever. I've qualified for nationals 3 times, so go figure that one out. But I've only won one strongman competition ever. The first one I won, but I was the only guy in the class, so that doesn't count. And then Sean's, I just got fucking murdered. I had more fun getting murdered at Sean's than any of the other ones. It's just a good time, and
oh, definitely.
And we're playing. We're getting to be 40-year-old people who get to go out and play on the weekends. I mean, what else do you want out of life?
Exactly. I look forward to that stuff. I think that's why I compete so much.
Yeah.
Eric, one time he had one of our newer guys at the gym, and he's kind of just starting to get into strongman. I think he did Nickel City, and he was asking, because when people are new, they always ask, how often should I compete, or how often do most people compete? And Eric's like, usually most people couple 2-3 times a year or something. He's like, except Billy. And he's like last year I think I did 8 or 9 strongman shows, and I think 7 Highland games. And it's kind of the same this year too,
yeah,
where it's like I've done 8 strongman shows, and about 6 or 7 Highland games too.
Well, you can use, especially ones like ours, you can just use it as a training day. Just come out. It's 3 events. Come out and have fun.
It's always a party.
Yeah.
Last year after Orton's Challenge, just sitting around eating
God, that pavilion, that place opened up a restaurant now, 5 miles down the road. So
that was so good.
It was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell people about that. I was like, like you said, this is about community when you put on a show. And I always call this stuff shows. People always call them contests and competitions. I always call them shows.
Yeah.
But whenever you put it on, like you said, the beer. And
water, we charge $1. Beer's free.
Yeah. And with getting a food truck where you're like, there's not anything right here.
Yeah.
And your friends are coming to hang out.
Yeah.
Too. So it gives people something good to eat. It wasn't just a crappy food truck.
Yeah.
It was like, oh god, food truck. That.
I'm trying to, I got to talk to them. They keep, because they just opened up this restaurant, they're so busy. So I've got to back up. The girl actually was at King Diamond last night. If they don't do the show, her food truck's going to do the show. And they're both fantastic. So, but I would rather people get done lifting early and then can hang out and have fun and
Enjoy
eat and
themselves.
talk to the vendors or whatever.
Yeah.
So
They're not just burnt and it's like 6 o'clock at night and they're just like ready to go home.
Because I've had people send me bitchy emails that are like, well, it's only 3 events. I'm not driving 3 hours. I'm like, okay, whatever. You're not the kind of person I want here anyhow.
Right? It's nice, though, to only have 3 events.
Yeah.
The Vikings Con was 6.
That's tough. It's tough.
That was a long day.
Yeah.
We were doing our last events after the sunset, and it was outside, which was cool. Like,
yeah.
That kind of felt a little badass.
Once in a while, you want events like that, too.
You know? So it's outside, and it gets dark, and then the lights come on.
Yeah,
it's like a fairground kind of thing, so the lights come on, and it just kind of felt a little dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, people doing their last events in the dark. But it was cool, but with 6, I mean, it's going to make the day go longer. But the javelin throw was quick, though. I think
You did a javelin?
Yeah, that was really
no
fun.
Shit.
That was fun watching people try to figure out how to do that.
It's not as easy as it looks. No. And say goodbye to your elbow if you do it wrong.
Oh, right? Like, he got, I think he just got some women's training javelins or something. Mm-hmm. Like, Andrew Gilly, I don't know if you've ever met him in Highland.
My name sounds really familiar. I'm sure I know him.
But he was Highland and Strongman. They call him the Gnome, or Grandpa Gnome.
Yes, yeah.
He's this little short guy. Yep. We were, like, they were letting people play with the javelins at the beginning of the day to figure it out. And we're both trying to apply, like, Highland Games logic.
Yeah, there's nothing like the javelin.
I guess you can kind of Braemar it, right? You know?
Yeah.
So we were experimenting with, like, how to figure out how to whip this thing. And I love that Barrett in the beginning of the day when he's going over rules. He was just kind of like, just so you know, women's track and field athletes in college throw these for 200 feet.
Yeah, easy.
And it was kind of fun watching guys kind of like tank it into the ground.
I had
like 10 feet, you know.
The only college track and field gig I ever applied for was Baldwin Wallace College in Cleveland here. And he's interviewing me, the head coach, and he's like, "Well, you know, what's your biggest weakness going to be as a college track and field coach?" And I said, "Well, the javelin. I have no experience with the javelin." He said, "Well, what do you think about it? What can you do with it?" I said, "I'm a Highland Games athlete. I'll figure it the fuck out. I'll throw your microwave if you pay me enough money. You know, it's not a big deal. I'll figure it out, and we'll get people throwing far with it." But you know, that in Highland Games, sometimes, you know, we used to go to an event in Wisconsin. And the promoter was this drunk Chicago guy, and it was funny because he would start out the weekend with his normal Chicago accent, and then he'd have a couple cocktails, and all of a sudden it would switch to a Scottish accent, and then by the third day we would see him on Sunday, it would be like full-fledged pirate, like he was in this full-fledged pirate, but he would come up with these events on Sundays that he called the Hibernian events, which were total nonsense. He said they were the Irish version of Scottish games. And it was all these crazy fucking events that no one had ever seen before, and hand grenade throws and all this stuff. And then, so we did it for years, and it was always like, oh, whatever, he's going to pay us, let's just throw him. Right. So we're thinking these are real legit Irish events. Well, one year we had this girl, Michelle, come over from Ireland. And she comes out on Sunday, and we're like, wow, you're really going to do good at these. These are the Irish events. And she's like, I've never seen these events before in my life. We're like, fucking Sarge? He's been lying to us for years. He said, no, I've got the scrolls. I've got all the... I'm like, you do not have any scrolls. Making this shit up. But he paid good money, so we threw it. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love when people get creative with stuff, though, and present, like, weird challenges.
Yeah.
Like, we see people bring... to Highland Games, you'll see someone bring, like, a rock, you know, like a challenge one, you have to pick it up, you know. Like, we had a guy bring, like, a 250-pound stone or something for the guys to pick up, which was really fun.
Yeah.
That's fun to watch, because you have some guys that can't pick it up, and you have other guys that can press it, you know, and some guys that can shoulder it and stuff, so...
Stone loading is one of my favorite things, and you know, I've lost a ton of weight, and I'm not squatting or pressing as much as I used to, but I still love picking up big stones.
It's so fun.
It is.
It's something it's so visceral.
Yes. primitive.
Yeah. It's kind of like if I've had a rough day, there are two things I like. If I just kind of like need some stress relief, is tire flips and Atlas stones.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, those two things, especially tire flips, you sit there and swear at it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm giving a speech next month at University of Ashland has a great strength and conditioning clinic. Why they have asked me to speak, I'll never know. But I'm up there with all these people who have like all these letters after their names and shit. But yeah, hi, I'm Mark. I'm a meathead. So I'm giving a talk though on using strongman events for athletes because I am convinced. I'm convinced that if you gave me a football team, a high school football team to work with, and gave me nothing but pull-up bars and tires, I could turn them into absolute fucking monsters.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because tire flipping works everything. We had a guy in here, Isaac, who did nothing but tire flips for a week. He'd pull out a tire, and it was as many tire flips as he'd get in 20 minutes with this 800-pound tire.
Oh, man.
And he weighs like 180 pounds, you know?
Right.
And he's just a fucking monster. But what a workout, you know? It gets everything.
It really does. It's so fun. And plus, the strongman, I feel like it's a little bit of problem solving, too.
Yeah,
It's
right?
like learning how to use your body properly to move things,
Yep.
you know? Because a lot of, it's kind of, like when you talk to somebody who doesn't know anything about the sport, and they'll ask you, like, your numbers, what's your best lift? And you're like, well, depends on what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of almost like someone trying to ask questions about natural rock or something pre-contest. It's just kind of like, we do so many weird things, and it's weird when someone asks you that question because there's so many different things. And then even when you have people that get creative with shows, like with the Vikings Con thing, you're just kind of, you have no way to define it.
Yeah.
People don't know about the sport, you know. But it really does, and I feel like it does carry over to everyday life.
100%.
You know, like I'll even notice myself, you know, when you're carrying the groceries.
Right.
You start catching yourself doing things like shoulders back.
Yep. My training has evolved over the last 2 years, and even more so now that I've started grappling. I am getting I'm getting further and further away from traditional lifting, bars on your back, bars in your hand, because I think the strongman events hit everything. So tire flipping, like you said, it's a different movement every time you flip that tire because, I missed my elbow there, I can get my shoulder into it, you know. Yeah. Atlas stones are the same way, and you get that hip explosion. Heavy carries will put you into a different dimension if they're heavy enough. Yeah. You know, you're breathing so hard, and they're just crushing you, and it crushes you in different ways, whether it's a yoke or farmer's walk.
Death cross carries.
Right. The log is, when you're pushing logs, it's a totally different feel, but you get the same benefits as a clean and jerk. I just love it, and we've talked about the next gym we open. I don't know how many bars we'll have in the place. It'll be mostly Flintstone style. Yep.
So, yeah.
Bedrock Fitness or something, you know.
We have an initiation process at Iron and Stone. The first time you come there, or you participate in Strongman Saturday, we have the Death Cross. You have one too. That thing.
Oh, the mooring, whatever they call it, the mooring cross. Yeah.
We have one, and it's a, I don't know, those carries suck so much because it's like on your diaphragm.
Yep.
You can't breathe if you don't pick it up the right way.
Yep.
But then it's bottom heavy. But we have Pumoji stickers on it, and we have 3 of them.
I had to think what Pumoji was for a second.
And they're confirmed kill stickers.
I love it.
So anytime anyone poops their pants with that thing, because there's something about that event, it makes people shut themselves a little.
Well, it's pressing on your belly, and you're straining and bracing,
and then you have to pick it up like with a wide squat to, you know, because it's all between your legs. So I mean, you can't really.
I have picked up ours a total of maybe twice ever. I'm like, I fucking hate this thing.
You're like, why do I?
The first time we got it, we used to use it. We still do sometimes. We'll use it as a tiebreaker for our events. Well, we had.
I remember seeing that one.
The girl who fell. Did you see the girl who fell?
Yes.
And landed on the other girl's foot? Oh, this is how it proves that women are tougher than men, because she was carrying this. Her name was Jackie. And she was carrying this thing and just going for broke, and she had to win this thing. And came right to the end, and the place was just packed with people. And this photographer was like on top of the action. She took fantastic photos because she was right in the fucking middle of everything. But right at the end, Jackie tripped and came forward, and that fucking cross landed on this poor girl's toe, and Jackie on top of it. So you're looking at like 400 pounds of weight just landing on this poor girl's sandaled feet. And Jackie rolled off. They got her foot out from underneath it, and she just walked it off and never made a peep. And I was like, what the fuck? I wasn't even sure. Maybe I saw that wrong, or broke her foot, never made a sound.
It was like Tony's wife. I wasn't there when it happened, but she broke her ankle at the gym one day. I think she broke it in like 3 places. Like she's got steel rods in there.
Oh my God.
Now, but one of my friends that was there, because I got there after it happened, and she and Tony had already gone to the hospital and everything. And they told me what happened. They're like, yeah, Karen literally she didn't scream.
Yeah.
She didn't cry, nothing. She's just standing there and her, holding her foot up, and you can see her foot's just kind of dangling.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I need to go to the hospital, like everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. I think I sprained it. You know what I mean? Like just very nonchalant. And I asked her about it later. I was like, you were like, we call her the honey badger. Like that's her nickname, because she is like that. She's like $120 of sass.
Yeah.
She's just a tough cookie anyway. But I asked her, they said like you weren't even like remotely freaking out. You were just kind of like, okay, so this happened, and I need to go to the hospital. Let's go, And I was like, that's just toughness. And she's like, well, our daughters were here. You
don't want to freak them out, yeah.
And she's like, I had to not freak out because I didn't want to scare my girl.
Yeah. But that's advanced thinking.
Yeah. Mom strong is a thing. Like mom strength really is a thing.
After you've gone through childbirth, is there anything else that's gonna, have your insides ripped apart and push basically a 10-pound turkey through your innards? I can't even imagine anything else being worse than that.
Exactly.
I stub my toe, and the parade of cuss words that come out of my mouth.
That's what I'm saying.
It's ridiculous.
The littlest thing is like, most people freak out. It's like, I just broke my ankle. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But.
My son is impervious to pain. People say it's because he's a redhead, but cold, pain, nothing bothers him. It's so weird. And I've seen him bang his head, or it's like nothing. He just kind of winces, and that's it. It's like, Jesus Christ, kid. I am not like that.
But it's kind of like when you see like a contest even, kind of if you're comparing like kind of equal categories of like men's lightweight or women's lightweight. If you take them, it always seems like girls just rep the crap out of stuff.
Yeah. They can take the pain.
Yeah, they just push through it, and that's kind of how Karen got her nickname Honey Badger, because she will just go all day. Like,
yeah.
She's one of those people that it's just this even tempo until the timer runs out.
Yep.
Every lift is the same. It's like a machine.
Yeah.
But I've noticed this when you watch girls and you watch guys, it seems like girls are just like balls out, like going for like double-digit reps all the time.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Well, you got to be willing to get into that pain cave, and a lot of people just aren't,
That's always the first thing I tell anyone that's new. The first thing you learn is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I had a friend he's doing his first strongman show. He's learning to do axle, and he sent
Worst
me a message.
event.
He's like, how do you make this not suck? I was like, well, which part sucks? He's like, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's never gonna not suck, no matter how many times you do it.
The axle's the worst.
It's uncomfortable, especially with the continental clean.
Yep.
We've got it rested on your rib cage for a second.
Let's pull this up with a reverse grip. Put it on your belly or on your belt if they let you. God,
Put your hand over.
Yeah,
it.
it's I
Somehow explode it off from here.
the times I've done it, I've just overhand gripped it and said, well, when I get to the point where I can't overhand grip it, I'm fucked. So
I've seen so many people, oh my goodness, especially if they don't have access to one and they don't know. They show up contest days learning how to continental clean.
yeah.
And you always see where people get here, right, and then they switch the wrong hand.
Now they've got two of them under.
And then they're like trying to curl it, basically.
Curl this up to my chest.
And you're like, oh, someone's about to hurt a bicep.
Yep. And that happens a lot with that event. I don't like it. I will not put it into our competitions.
People forget to switch, and then they do this, and then they're trying to squirm one hand underneath, and you're like, don't break your wrist, please.
Yeah.
Like,
if I do put an axle into our competitions, it's always lighter, so that's less of an issue, and that people can probably just overhand clean it. Is because I hate that. I hate watching it. Like even with like World's Strongest Man, I just don't even want to see it because I've tried it and I hate it. And I'd much rather like a circus dumbbell where you're either going to get it off your shoulder or you're not.
Yeah, like I judged a strongman show one time that had an axle event, and it was a show that was kind of geared towards introducing people to the sport. And I feel like, not that CrossFit's bad or something, it was most of them were CrossFitters.
A lot of them, yeah.
Because that honestly, I feel like that's what feeds the sport.
Absolutely.
Now,
and Olympic lifting and powerlifting, yeah.
So there were a lot of guys trying to learn how to basically continental clean on the fly, and like after a few, like,
those shocking moments
that just scared the crap out of me. I'm starting to worry, like, okay, people are gonna get hurt, and I actually like stopped my group, my first group, and I was like, I was like, before we keep going, I was like, is there anyone who does not know how to do this? Yeah. And I got a couple of hands, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a coaching thing.
A little quick demo.
We're going to do a little demo. I'm going to show you how to do this real quick because I don't want anyone hurting their wrist or popping a bicep today.
Yeah.
It's like, I want you guys to have fun, and I want you guys to be able to like do it right and feel good about it. So I just did a little quick demo before I kept going. I did that with every group. I was like, there's anyone who doesn't know how to do this.
Makes life a little bit easier for you too, to cringe every time you watch one of these people do something.
You don't want to see anyone get hurt either.
Overhead events in general are a little bit nerve-wracking as a judge or a promoter, and you just because some people just will not give up or don't know when to give up,
or they don't know how to fail.
I know when there's a log on my chest that if it's not coming up, I just know to bail. And some people just will keep pushing it until they drop it on their heads or drop it behind them. It's like, how do you do that? I would never get to that point.
It has to hurt.
Yeah.
Log behind you like that.
But you see it all the time.
Yeah, you do. Oh, goodness.
I'm never going to get to that point where it's like, oh, I care enough that I'm going to struggle with this. It just.
Well, plus, when you're doing this stuff long enough, you start learning, to live to fight another day.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you start being more strategic at contests. Like I know I do that for myself because people think you have to go balls out and win. You have to get first place every single event, and it's like, well, there's typically 5, so you could actually get second place in every event all day. If first place fluctuates between all the other people in your class, you got first place, man.
Just being consistent all day, for sure.
My friends always joke it's being the most okayest athlete of the day, But, or if you know the first 3 events, like let's say you got the first 3, like you can chill out.
Put it in neutral for a little bit.
Yeah, and just be like, hey, these events are all right. Or mentally plan like, okay, I know these 2 aren't my strengths, so we're just gonna make sure we go balls out for these 3.
Yeah.
Make sure we cement it with those, and then these we don't have to worry about it.
I remember watching. It was the Celtic Classic, which is Highland Games Nationals, years ago. Jim McGoldrick won 2-day competition. He won the whole thing and never took first in an event. He was like 2, 3, 4, and everything, just consistent. And then guys would rise and fall, and he ended up winning at the end.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just being consistently good. Sometimes. You don't, because when I started, I mean, that was always the mentality of like win every event, but I'm knocking on 40 here. So
When did you start?
oh God, when?
Yeah, like how old were you? Like how are you doing?
I was 34.
Okay,
when
so
I started. So, I was like a little older. I kind of wish I somehow had discovered this stuff in my 20s.
yeah, now it's but like you said, CrossFit's feeding all these sports and
I mean, that's how I got into it.
Yeah.
I started off with CrossFit, and I discovered I liked lifting better than doing burpees.
I think that's one of the best things about it is it gives people an opportunity to go, oh, here's an Atlas stone. You know, maybe I'm only lifting a 75 pounder, but this is a lot of fun and I'm good at it. But I'm not good at muscle ups, you know, so you start to branch out, and it gives people like our gym or Iron and Stone, it gives you a feeder system where CrossFit, no mercy down the street. Yeah, but maybe they can come, and you know, and it would be good to have a working relationship with those gyms where you could go back and forth. Because I get girls in here sometimes that'll walk in off the street and think we're a CrossFit, and I'll tell them flat off the bat, we're not doing any gymnastics.
Yeah.
You're probably never going to do a snatch in here. This might not be the place for you, you know. I mean, we're going to work really hard and do Metcons and everything, but if you're into gymnastics and shit, maybe you should go over to Black Flag or Coca or something down the road, and you know you'll get that there. And I think it's good to be honest with people, because you don't want people in your gym that don't want to do the shit you're doing, because they're going to be a pain in your ass, you know.
Yeah, especially with us Iron and Stone, it's such a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
We're such a tight-knit crew. I feel like if anyone came in and just couldn't hang or didn't want to, you know, because that's one of our things too, is everyone respects hard work and that too.
Yeah.
But I feel like if someone showed up not wanting to work hard, or was just like, I'm just gonna do some sit-ups.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't. No, they would not have fun there.
Well, it's attitude,
you know,
too. So, you know, you have addition by subtraction. I won't obviously.
People are looking for a fancy gym or something.
Yeah.
And Eric advertises it like that too, where he's just kind of like, if you're looking for like
This
a
isn't your
smoothie bar and
place.
stuff, this is not.
We're the same way. It's cave fit, you know. I mean, it's.
I know this gym's gorgeous. Every time I come here.
But you have to like that kind of gym, you know.
Yeah.
This is not. My good friend Tom has a gym down the road, and it's beautiful. I mean, he's in a very affluent community with a lot of soccer moms, and he has a lot of CrossFitters. And I mean, you go in, and everything is pretty, and you know everything, and it's in a place. And he's got like literally thousands and thousands of dollars worth of these crazy treadmills and shit. It's like. That's not us, and I wouldn't be happy in a place like that.
Yeah.
I want to come in and just like I said, I'd have the lights out if it were up to me, and there'd be skulls on the ground and shit. You know, that's just the way I grew up. Those are the kind of gyms I trained in, and those are the people I want. We had a guy in here recently who left the gym and was kind of weaselly and didn't really give an explanation, but it was like, oh. Thank God, because this was addition by subtraction. Because he was a pain in the ass, and he was one of these guys where every time he'd walk into the gym, I would see him walk in and put that fake smile on that I'm not very good at. But I'm always like, oh, hello, nice to see you again. Fuck, you know. And right now, we really have nobody in the gym who's like that. Like everyone who comes in, I'm like, oh yeah, Allison's here today. Nice to see you, you know. Because that's really hard for me, and it drains my energy. And people, look, I'm not pulling crab traps in the Bering Sea or breaking rocks in the hard. This is not a hard job, but you want to have energy for your classes. And when someone comes in there and just sucks all that energy out of you, and you don't even want to look over at him because he was a super bummer, and he was not very honorable, and he was just a weasel. Yeah. And it was just so nice when he finally left, and it was like a weight lifted off your shoulder. And he was one of these guys who was like 110 pounds, where if this were the old days, I could just go up and just strangle the fuck out of him and just like, you know, be a man, you know, like the Godfather, you know.
Here's a toothpick.
Oh yeah, right.
You know,
but he's gone and just, you know, like, and I don't have your $100 a month. I don't give a shit. You know, it's worth $100 to get rid of you. You know, you want to avoid those people at all costs.
Yeah, you know, and I know with our gym, we haven't had to kick anybody out, you know, but same thing, you know, if anyone comes along and it's just kind of like morally does not you know, if they're not a good person, they're probably not going to stick around very long there. You know,
but that's life too, right?
Yeah.
You want those people around you who are going to lift you up and not drain your energies. You know,
and I feel like our gym has so far it's attracted nothing but amazing people. Like,
that's awesome.
I always see new faces every Saturday morning, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's especially women. It's really cool seeing more and more girls get into this, because for years it was like I always trained strongman Saturday by myself, or you know, for a little while we had a couple of girls on our crew that I trained with. Then they moved on to a different gym, and then it was just me for like ever.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, it's good because when you're training with guys, you know, you kind of start wanting to try to keep up.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
So in the end, it makes you a better athlete because you're trying to work harder. And so I think that helped, but at the same time, you're kind of like in your own little corner.
Yeah.
Like by yourself.
Yeah, that and you want you want to get friends with people and have people that are close to your level. I mean, you're never going to beat Tony at anything, you know. Hell, I'm never going to beat Tony at anything. But
he's a madman, though.
Yeah.
Like he's relentless. Just whenever you watch him, and he really strategizes around everything too.
Well, there's a zen to strongman. There's definitely a strategy, and there's a mindset you have to get into, and it's different. It's hard to explain to people. Throwing's the same way with a different, you know, all these high-level technical sports, strongman and Highland games, and even now me finding with grappling is you have to get into this different mindset and really wrap your brain around it. You can't just be an oaf and go out and try to attack things.
Too.
Yeah.
This is one thing. This is another reason I started competing a lot, was to kind of almost overexpose myself, because nervousness makes you make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you watch people at strongman contests, Highland Games, the people who win are the ones that walk up on the platform or up to the trig, and they're just, it's another day.
Yep.
You know, they're completely calm. They're not hyping themselves up. They're like slapping themselves in the face and getting all, you know, it's the people who it's just like, okay, they're looking at their judge like, you ready? Okay, you know, it's like a routine.
Well,
almost.
you know, I was on the pro circuit, and if you go to a Highland Games and you watch the pros versus the amateurs, you will never see a pro very rarely getting psyched up for. I can't remember anybody, because we were pros. This was our job. So you went in, and I remember, matter of fact, I had a mantra that I would say to myself if I was in a high stress situation. I had to get 6 more inches on this throw to win. I would say to myself, as I was getting the trick, because I start feeling myself getting amped, I would say, "This is not world peace.
Right.
Relax." And that would just calm me down, and this doesn't matter, you know. And I would always do well that way. But when you're in a technical event like that, it's so rare that you're going to be able to keep that psych all the way through. And you watch guys, like, even in powerlifting, they'll come and grab the bar and slam their head against the bar, and they're screaming and yelling, and then right before they get on the bar, it all calms down, you know. It's just like, how much energy did you just waste doing that, you know?
Right. You know,
you never see Olympic lifters do that, you know.
It's kind of even with girls with girls and dudes are lifting. You never see girls do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, or even like yelling with Highland Games. You probably noticed this. The guys throw, they're like, "Whoa!" You know, the girls. Not so
I had this weird high pitched scream that I would like. I was very girly. Everyone used to laugh at me. Like, it's just what comes out when I do this. This weird wee, you know.
But it's almost like rare when a girl like is like, whoa, when she throws, you know. So I'm always like, what is up with that? Like, I don't understand.
It probably came out of track. That's usually where you get it from, you know, girls at least.
We always joke that guys scream, you know, like, it makes it go further, you know, that's the reason, right? Like,
I love watching hammer throwers, especially back in the day, like in the 70s and 80s, Judd Logan and Lance Steele, and they would scream at the ball. So they go through, and then when they hit it, ah, and then they would scream a second time. They're sitting there staring because the ball goes 280 feet. They scream the first time, and then they look at the ball and they do it again. Ah, trying to push the ball further. And that's what Judd used to call it, screaming at the ball to make it go.
Right, hoping like that there's some sort of vibration that pushes it or something.
It's so fun to watch,
Because you see guys doing that in Highland too. They'll throw it and they're sitting there. They've already thrown it and they're sitting there screaming at it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something in it. There's some kind of mental thing in there. I guarantee it.
There totally is. It's so funny though to like when you notice that stuff. But, yeah, definitely keeping calm. I think is key. The key to winning, and because then you're not thinking about it.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
When you screw up a lift, I don't know how many times I've been like, "What I do wrong," and the response is you thought about it.
Yeah. You'll see it. You'll see people just take way too long to lift something. You're like, he's not going to lift this because he's in his head.
Sit under it too long. Like record breakers last year, Todd Georgie down by White Plains does record breakers every March and September. That's a fun show too.
That's a strongman one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's state and national records.
Okay.
So he caps it at 50, but it never caps out.
Right.
Because you don't show up to that unless you look
50
at the books.
people ready to break a record. You know.
So it's like you don't go to that. You don't sign up for that unless you look at the books because you pick which ones you want to do.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So you look at and you pay per event. So you could do 1, or you could do 5 if you want.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But you don't sign up for that unless you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I got that.
Yeah.
Or there isn't one yet, and you figure whatever, I'll do it. But most people do at least 2.
Yeah.
But last year, my last attempt, I was going for like a PR on the axle press and stuff. I had already broke my previous record and stuff that I had on there. And my last attempt, it was one of those things, where you get it to your eyeball.
Yeah.
And your brain kicks in and is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Put it out, It like totally screwed the pooch on it. And I was so mad at myself. And Melissa Edwards was hanging out and stuff. And I walked off. She's like, I could see the moment your brain turned on.
Yeah, you can. Especially if you're used to coaching people, you just see it. Oh, yeah. Well, that's done. They're not going to do it now.
Yeah. She's like, I was watching you, and I was like, she so got this, She's like, and then you got here, and then your brain, was like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
But
why am I doing this?
Yeah, it's true. Because if you get, like you said, if you're stepping up and getting too hyped,
it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I think about it, even in the moment while I was doing it, I had it racked too long.
Yeah.
You're sitting here like this, thinking about how you're gonna press it.
Yep.
It's like don't think about how you're gonna.
I used to do that with stones. I would pull them in my lap and then sit there for a while.
And I do that sometimes too.
I watched Sean Shoemaker, and Sean Shoemaker, no matter how heavy the stone was, into his lap, hands over, puts it up.
Yeah, I've done that too, and I've failed on stone lifts so many times.
Yeah.
Because you're just sitting there cuddling with it.
Right, and you got to do a max effort front squat with no momentum.
With no momentum, and then like also just like the effort your body is using to hold it.
Yeah.
You're using your oxygen and your resources
and
stuff. So before you even, go to hyperextend or anything, you're already done.
Yeah. I watched him do it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'll just switch to doing that because I'm an idiot. And
it's fun when you watch yourself fail at stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, why did I sit there for that long? What the hell's wrong with me?
Yeah, when I was in Highland Games, I hardly ever watched videos of myself. There's a few on YouTube that I barely watched. Someone will send it to me, and I'm like, oh god, I was fucking horrible.
Oh, because I never really keep my phone on me when I do the show. It's in my bag.
Yeah.
And everyone's always like, can you film me? Can you film me? Can you film me? Because I don't give a shit about seeing myself do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. It's kind of weird when you see yourself actually do it. You're like, oh, okay. That's the face I make.
Well, and that's the other thing about being, you said you're knocking on the door of 40 is we didn't grow up with that.
Yeah, so we don't care. And about showing everybody, like,
Yeah.
look what I can do. You know what I mean? It's
If it wasn't for this podcast and this gym, I 100% would not be on any kind of social media because it's just. I was talking to Pete Bremner yesterday from Westside Barbell. We were talking about Chuck Vogopol, who's like one of the greatest lifters of all time, and nobody knows who he is because he has no social media. And I can totally respect that, you know? Just be this mad hermit, just lifted and living this Spartan samurai lifestyle.
Lifted his cage.
Yep. Nobody knows who I am, but I'm a fucking animal, and that would be so awesome. But
I mean, it's kind of like Eric. It was almost kind of picking up because I don't really post anything on my social media about my lifts.
Yeah.
Or anything. When I won Vikings Con, he like posted this gif of like a unicorn dabbing. He's like, because I didn't take any pictures. The only pictures I have from that are like from the photographer from the event. And he's like, since Billy doesn't really do anything on social media, here's a unicorn or something, to congratulate me on the win. And I thought that was just super funny. And then I, got the photos from the
there's always a photographer.
I never post anything. And if I ever do have pictures or videos of anything I do, it's because someone else filmed it, because I don't know, I just can't walk around my phone and make
ask people do it.
You feel me? Yeah. Like it feels so dorky to me.
It does, but it's just our generation. That's not how we didn't have that stuff.
Yeah,
it just wasn't part of our lives.
Yeah, we don't think about. I gotta make sure I film this.
Yeah.
It's never a thought in my head to do that or take pictures.
It has now become a thought because I know I have to post something.
Right.
For the podcast, or whatever, and I'm like, oh shit, I better go set this up and. It's weird, but that's the world we live in. That's what we do now. We take little stories of our lives and put them out there, and
it was kind of like, because I was in a relationship for a long time. I've been single for the last couple of years, so when you're an old grump, it's hard to meet people. My dating pool,
I'm glad I'm married.
My dating pool would be like my gym and work.
Yeah.
At this point, So I was on like some dating app and matched with some other guy who kind of like lifts or whatever. He doesn't do anything competitive with it, per se, more like gym hero kind of type of dude. And he's like, "Hey, do you have an Instagram?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think my last post on there right now was in March, and I think from last year, and I think the post before that was from like the summer before that or something."
Yeah.
I think I have 20 posts on my Instagram. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So he gives me his, and then he messages me. He's like, "Do you ever post like videos of your PRs, or why don't you post videos of your PRs, and stuff?" And I was like, "Nobody gives a shit."
Yeah.
And he seemed kind of like set back by that, but he was one of those. Looking at he's one of those people that posts his entire workout every day,
And that's going to be 100% for him because, like you said, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I mean, it's good for yourself though to go back and maybe look how you can correct yourself.
There's very few people I care about. Like I'll watch Thor. Thor's doing something huge in the gym. But like Larry Wheels posts a video of every fucking thing he does, and I'm like, I could care less what Larry Wheels does in the gym. Like,
here's my leg press.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I really have to be into you as an athlete and have to see you do something. Like if Thor was posting videos of him benching 400 pounds for reps, I'd be like, I don't fucking care. But he's deadlifting at the Grand. Let's check this out. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like a big crazy deal or something.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's different from social media to regular media, because it used to be in regular media, you only got to see the Super Bowl. You didn't get to see the practices. Now you can see everything. Everything is a movie.
Oh, definitely. It really, really is. Everything is so heavily documented.
Yeah.
Now. It's kind of like, even when I do post on Facebook about Strongman or Highland, usually it's more about promoting the promoter who put the show on.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's rude to do a show and not thank whoever put it on for doing that. Because
it's cool.
If promoters don't do shows, we don't get to go play. So,
And it's appreciated for sure. I know we do. And
then also to draw attention to it, be like, yo, I did this fun thing. You know how you're debating on doing the fun thing? Well, you missed out.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's also to hope with the intent of promoting it for next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But being like, hey, remember that show I did? And they had that cool trophy. They're doing another one. You know? So it's kind of more about promoting the person, who put it on, you know, and also promote it for the next time.
Yeah.
So people get that thought in their head, like, oh, that looks like fun. Or, no, that person looks like they give out some cool trophies.
Yeah.
You know? Because we like cool trophies.
Yeah, we do. We talked for sure about that.
Like
people need it.
I'm happy with a handshake and whatever. It's like, shut up. No, you buy the Cracker Jack for the prize.
Absolutely. Not for the caramel popcorn. Oh, shit. Well, you want to go lift some weights?
Yeah, I got to get myself.
So are you going to do Odin's?
Probably.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that page will probably be up tonight, or sometime this weekend. But yeah, let's go lift some weights, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, this has been the Refined Savage. See ya.